In a dark world, remember to be the light. Welcome to our live broadcast. Black Swan Revelations presents Rev 5. Here is your host, the Black Swan himself, Shane.
All right, welcome everyone to Black Swan Revelations. And welcome Rick, welcome Gary, welcome Bob. Barber. Yep. We got a bunch of legends in the house. So tonight we're calling this Rev 4, unless we get a mystery guest, which you never know. Sometimes we get a mystery guest that just pops in. I just invite a whole bunch of people and I send them the link, and then you just never know who's going to come on. So this is the beauty about this program. It's kind of a mystery. Kind of a mystery in a box.
I told everybody on my channel that I was going to be live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you're probably going to get a lot of my traffic on here tonight.
Sweet.
So
sweet.
It's probably about 200 people will be extra watching, but Rev 5. It's Rev your engines, people.
That's right.
Rev
That's
your
right.
engines.
That's right. So the topic tonight is called, Are We on the Brink? I should have put a space behind it because I left it a little bit open-ended because we can actually go in any direction with that. But it feels like it's just on the tip of our brain, if you will, spiritually, if you want, that it just feels like we're on the crisp of something about to happen. And I can't quite put my finger on it. So this is why I invited Gary, Bob, and Rick. I wanted maybe these guys can explain it to me and just say, well, Shane, here's exactly what's going on, because it feels like, again, we're in that lull, almost like when Bob mentioned it just before the assassination attempt with Donald J. Trump. We're like, man, there's like a bit of a lull here. Well, there's nothing going on. Like, obviously there's little here and there around the world, but nothing in America that was major. Then you had this, and then all of a sudden Joe Biden steps aside or steps down or gets forced out or whatever, and then Kamala is all over the place as well, and they're really trying to ramp things up and push her right to the top. And Benjamin Netanyahu was in the state, like at the Congress, and I'm like, now it's quiet. It's quiet. So what do you think? What are we on the brink of? So I'll start with Bob, Gary, and then Rick, and we'll just go around. We'll go around like a little merry-go-round. Just treat this like a little merry-go-round. Once your head gets a little dizzy, then we'll go on to a different topic.
So we are on the brink of the 7-year tribulation, which means we're on the brink of the rapture. Okay, I think that sounds fair, everybody here. If you look at everything that's going on in Israel now, we got a lot of activity going on there. Okay, you have Russia and Iran, Turkey coming against them now. They didn't used to work together before, now they are. Okay, so we have people believe that we're in the Psalm 83 war. Some people think we're Ezekiel 38. But the fact of the matter is that these countries who normally would not, agree, are coming together as a confederacy, as the Bible says. And this, of course, happens at the beginning of the tribulation. It essentially kicks off Daniel's 70th week. So we have that going on here. And not just top of that, we also have our elections that are leading up to uncertainty for America. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. My money is that they're just going to flip the game table here soon. They can't have Trump come back in. They get Trump back in, he's going to undo everything. It's just going to be a wreck. Okay, or he's going to bring capital punishment upon a bunch of these global elite, right, and get in the control center and screw everything up for them. All right, that's another way of looking at it. So what do you think they're going to do? Well, they're not going to allow them to get in, so they're going to try to, do what they did last time, play unfair, see if they can get them, see if they can beat them. If not, flip the game table, nuclear war. All right, and I think they'll be able to gauge that by watching these polls. Right, they're already faking the crap out of the polls right now. They say that Kamala Harris is just right behind Trump. I mean, come on, give me a break. Okay, a monkey wouldn't even vote for her. She's so stupid. Okay, nobody in their right mind would follow this woman. Right, she shouldn't be there at all. Okay, but we're under judgment right now. That's why we got a poor president in 2021. Got a very poor, very dumb, very stupid president that couldn't even operate on his own without being held walking over a 2-foot staircase. Okay, so that we're under judgment. That's why God put him in, to judge us and to get us out of the way, so that the tribulation pieces can fall into place. Okay, so that is what happened, and that's happened. This has been going on for the last 4 years. So, do you think we could do another 4 years? We can't handle another 4 years of Bidenomics and Kamalanomics and stuff like that. We will all certainly die. Okay, so I think they're at that point now where they achieve what they needed to achieve with Biden, I should say, and Kamala. All right, and now is at the point now is either it's a death shot to everybody where they shut the lights off. They got everything in place. They can just shut the lights off. They got the open borders. They got all their illegals in, which is essentially their proxy army that they brought in to fight their own citizens. Okay, they couldn't get rid of our guns, so they brought illegals in here and armed them, and they're going to stick them against us when they shut the lights off. They're going to shut those lights off. They're going to say that, by the way, we're not providing you guys money cards no more. We're not giving you free room and board. We're not doing nothing for you no more. You need to go fight them in order to get what you need, and that's what we're on the brink of right now.
Wow,
amen.
That was good.
And we're on the brink of that means not us. Okay, listen up, not us.
Yeah, I hear.
Those are going to be left behind. The rapture is going to kick this whole thing off. I completely believe it.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Gary, what are your thoughts? What are we on the brink of here?
Well, I don't think you have to be a prophet or a son of a prophet. Just a little bit of discernment in your heart to know that something's up, that something's coming. And there's a lot of times where I'll have those type of feelings, and my wife's like nervous because, you automatically think negative, And believe me, I believe a lot of negative is coming. But in the midst of that, we have the Lord, and He will take care of us. He will be there for us, and He will see us through this, And that's what I believe is coming. I believe that we're on the brink of something, and the Lord is there for us. I brought up a scripture here at the 2 Thessalonians 3:16. It says, "Now the Lord of peace Himself give you peace always. By all means, the Lord be with you all." And if you're feeling nervous out there, that's watching, thinking, man, with all this hell breaking loose over in Israel and around it, we can, get nervous at night thinking, well, when are the rockets going to start flying over here? And will that type of thing happen over here? And will there be another 9/11 or something worse? I mean, I believe there will be. Does that mean tomorrow? Does that mean next week? I don't know. But I just know that something's up because God just has that antenna sticking up, in me. And I just know that something is about to happen. And that's why it's important that if you're on the fence or if you're not with the Lord right now, get with the Lord, get on that ark while you can, because that's your only protection for what's coming, is that being with God. And I'm with God, and even in the midst of all the craziness that's going on, I know that I can have peace and I can sleep at night, because worst case scenario, I'm going to wake up in heaven. Hey, don't tempt me with heaven, I believe heaven's just in sight, for us all.
That's good. It's good. Rick, what are your thoughts? What are we on the brink of here?
Well, let's look at this, step back, look at the big picture. We have September is the highest month for the rapture to come. It's the highest high rapture watch month that we always think that. A couple years ago, we talked about it. Me and my father said, look, what year is the rapture coming? We don't know the year, day, and hour, okay? But we think it would be in September. And even professional Bible scholars have said it. Like one guy on Tipping Point, I listened to him, and he said a lot of them think that September would be the month that God would choose for that to happen, okay? Well, it just so happens to be that the Senate is taking time off, Okay, the Senate and the House is taking time off until September. And they're going to be voting on the U.S. getting involved in this war, basically attacking Iran along with Israel. They may even do a preemptive attack, because Iran just came out the other day and said, look, we have nukes right now, and we will use them if you tempt us. That's basically what they're saying. Coming right out in the open and saying that. And the U.S. is like, oh no, we got to take these guys out before they use them on Israel. And we know Israel's got the Samsung, they can use it too. Okay, it's, Isaiah 17. Right now, it just so happens to be that they have to vote on this, and they can't do it till they come back on their little vacation they're taking for a whole month, and it lands right on September. Now, if 2024 is the year of the rapture, and it's going to come, if God says, I'm going to come in September, it's strange that they're got to wait until September. So let's say they vote, and that vote's going to go through. Russia said, look, if we help, we're getting involved. Okay? That means all the key players. If Russia gets involved, that means Turkey and everybody, they're all just going to say, the hell, let's hit Israel. Okay? Because they got the U.S. And U.S. is going to say, well, look, we need help, UK. We need you guys. All that can happen in September. And how strange, because that's the feast holidays. That makes perfect sense, folks. If it's going to come this year and God decides to do it in September, that will explain all that happening in September. And the way I see it is the Lord's either going to take his church out of here just before all those bombs hit Israel, because it'll be a very overwhelming response, okay? Or it can happen right in the midst of it, So, folks, if you want to talk about being on the brink, I say we got a 30-day countdown until the biggest rapture high watch month of the year, and all that's coming in September. God has delayed his all this until September. Why is he waiting? Why all of a sudden the big delay? This war was supposed to take place a couple days ago, I heard. All of a sudden it's been delayed until September? Wow, folks. Something's going on, folks. Get ready. Get ready. Get right with Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Wow. What's interesting is, for me, that is, my birthday's coming up in September.
Wow,
and
nice.
it's on Labor Day weekend, September 3rd. So if you want to send me birthday presents, that's cool. But the reason why I bring it up is when I was a kid, I was basically moved to different schools probably every other year. Like the maximum amount through my entire life, including Bible college, whatever, was 2 years at a time. So whenever I moved to a different school, I always thought I have about 2 days to make friends so that I can invite them to my birthday party. And it feels like September could be the biggest birthday party ever. Like, if you think about like handing out gifts, can you imagine us all being raptured in September? Like, my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Like all of us in heaven.
Birthday party then.
Yeah, that'd be a great birthday party in heaven. That'd be amazing. So it's almost like we're warning people. We're watchmen. We're watchers on the fence, looking over and going, something's coming. We're telling you guys to get your hearts right. Get your hearts right. How do you get your hearts right? Well, you have to know who Jesus Christ is. Once you know who Jesus Christ is and you believe, like our good buddy John Foytier always says, you got to use the hub. I'll use his accent. You got to hear the gospel, and you got to understand the gospel, and you got to believe the gospel. You have to have that in order to be a Christian.
And you got to believe what it says in Corinthian.
Yeah, in Corinthian. 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4.
We love you, John, if you're watching.
We love you, John. You need to be on here. Maybe he's the fifth one. Maybe he's the fifth spoke here. But again, the reason why I bring up the birthday was I always had to try and make friends. So here, in some kind of a weird way, we're making friends with people we don't even know. We're saying, look, get right with the Lord, and we will spend eternity together. Because you know who Jesus Christ is. He could come even before September. He could come tonight. Or we could go tomorrow, as in we don't know when our time is up here on earth. We have no idea. There's two things we don't know. We don't know when Jesus is coming back. We don't know when we are going to meet him. We don't know. We don't know. So don't take this time for granted. Today is the day of salvation. We could be on the crisp, on the eve of something marvelous. And when I say marvelous, I'm speaking from the King James Bible version, where marvelous doesn't necessarily mean that's a good thing, but it's spectacular. It could be overwhelming on the senses, where the world will actually change after we're out of here. There's big things coming. Big thing. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it right now, but it feels like, gearing up to September. We only have 3-4 weeks, and we're already in the fall. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, Rick, but it feels like time is just sped up. That's why I have a little clock behind me here. Like, it's ramped up.
Every
Something's
month is
weird.
speeding up a little bit, I think. I've been watching it. I don't understand, but God had said he would shorten the days because then no flesh would survive. Well, look, he's already starting to do it a little bit now. Now, imagine during the tribulation how much quicker it'll be during that time. I mean, you may even look at the seconds. They may be ticking a lot faster. Supernaturally, when the rapture comes, everybody's going to be conditioned to see supernatural things. Already their minds will be conditioned. So they'll look at the seconds, well, that's nothing surprising to me. Look at how fast the seconds are ticking now, guys. Nothing new to us. We've seen already supernatural stuff everywhere. Now, if we've seen that today, then it would be all over the news probably. So, well, guys, don't be alarmed. The seconds are ticking fast. No, it's going to probably all happen after the rapture. We know all that stuff, what's going to happen.
Yeah, and one interesting thing, and I'll get you guys to jump in, is the idea about peace and safety. Like, a lot of times we think of when people are crying out, they're just saying peace and safety and whatever, but I think it's actually more almost like a worldwide chant, something that's just worldwide, that it's like you're ushering in worldwide peace and then sudden destruction, because it's going to catch people off guard, where they're going to think, oh, we just solved warfare all across the world. Like, we've solved it. It's peaceful. And somebody creates a song. Maybe it's Eminem comes up with a new song. We are the world. We got peace, all this, and everybody's jumping on board. And then blammo, presto, all of a sudden you get World War III or whatever, all hell breaking loose. Like, it feels like when you read the scriptures that it's like there's a time coming where all of a sudden everybody's going to be chanting this kind of peace, 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 and then sudden destruction. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Am I crazy?
I know that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gary. You're right.
Oh, I was just going to say, last year when they had all these different worldwide meetings with BRICS and UN and you name it, what were they saying at every single one of them? That statement, peace and security, peace and safety. And we all thought it then, I mean, even years ago, every time these people get together, that's one of the main things they all talk about. And I'm like, how many times are we going to hear this? And this next time will be the last time, and then it will be total destruction and the start of it all. That's what scares me every time you hear it. When I say scare, it kind of rattles me for a second. I'm like, well, is this really it? But every time leaders get together, that's one of the main things they talk about. And then I'm like waiting days after, like, okay, is this it?
Yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of they say peace and safety, as Apostle Paul said, then comes sudden destruction. Will it happen that way? And we're still waiting to see how this is all going down with the rapture. Let's say the rapture takes place and the war doesn't break out. And because of the rapture, everything changes. Antichrist comes in, whoever, but they bring a time of safety. But once we get up into the throne room, Jesus will open the second seal, which is the red horse of war. And when that red horse rides, there goes your peace and safety after the rapture.
That's a good point.
And they're going to see that the red horse has not ridden yet ever. Okay, so when this red horse rides, it's going to be like, it's like we thought we had peace and safety. Now we're in the worst level of war in the history of the world.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a million times worse than what we were before we had this time of peace. Okay, that's what you're going to get with the red horse of war. So sudden destruction. You gotta think about that. That destruction comes out of nowhere. No one sees it coming. Somebody has to see something coming. When Apostle Paul says they, he's talking about the global elite here. Those who are, the corrupt running the earth. These guys. Okay. So how come they don't see this destruction coming, unless this is the destruction that God brings upon them with the red horse rider? Okay, something that's out of their control that just thrusts them into a nuclear war. We're waiting for a nuclear war at the rapture, and it can happen that way. Or maybe we could see a time of peace right before the rapture. Okay, perhaps the rapture is when God winds up and throws another stone at the earth. All right, when the things get peaceful. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, things are settling, things are good. All of a sudden, boom, rapture. Bye-bye peace and safety. Kicks off a nuclear war. Imagine that, a nuclear rapture and the nuclear war all in one day.
My goodness.
What that can do. Talk about John 48, when he talks about that, the morning after the rapture, the next day. All you're going to see is, you're just going to see smoke everywhere. You won't even see the sun no more. It's just going to be smoke and desolation everywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about afterwards, the governments will come in and probably won't be able to access your cell phone. You're going to see probably drones, law enforcement everywhere to say keep in your homes, stay in your homes, nothing to see out here. We had a massive, huge alien invasion. We were talking about it for years. And strangely enough, they were after religious artifacts. They were going after all these religious buildings where these Christians hang out, and took them out, kidnapped them, took them away. And we always knew they were kind of weird. Turns out these Christians are actually aliens or something like that. And they took them home, and they're coming back. They left notes everywhere saying they're coming back to take us out, and we're going to be prepared when they come. So I need you to be on this sign. And if you could just sign here, here, and here, just a tiny little mark. We're just going to put it just so subtle. But it can't be on your left. It has to be on your right, and maybe on your forehead or something. I don't know what that's going to look like. But it's going to get to a point where people are going to want this in order for them to succeed in life, in order for them to buy, sell. They're craving it. They're going to want it. That's the difference between then and now. Now it's like we're singing like canaries in a coal mine going, look, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. All this kind of stuff. The devil doesn't want us here. We're in the way. We will stop him because we'll be singing like canaries. But once we're out of here, once the Lord removes us, there's nothing going to be holding these wicked people back. They're going to be turning on each other. They're going to be betraying each other, lusting after what other people have, all these empty homes. They'll be just taking over all this stuff. And you don't have Christians now to say, hey, that's wrong what you're doing. And they won't miss us for a second. You can argue and debate. Oh yeah, they're going to miss us. I'm not talking about friends and family. I'm talking about non-Christians that hate Jesus Christ. They won't even blink when we're gone. They'll be so greedy.
Yeah, why do you think they attack only Christians at the Olympics?
Yep.
It's okay to go after Christianity. It's okay to go after that. You go after any other religion, that's just wrong. But Christianity, you can have free slate. Do it all day long. Good thing.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you which is the true way to heaven. They're not attacking Islam. No one cares about them. No one attacking them. Not attacking Buddhism. No. All right, or any of the Indian religions or anything like that. They're not going after any of them. Yeah. The only thing they go after is Christianity.
Yeah.
So that has to make you think.
The idea that you can go after Novum Testamentum, which is Latin for New Testament, New Covenant, you're attacking the New Covenant. You're attacking the New Testament at the opening ceremonies. It isn't just the Last Supper, because people are like, oh, it's the Last Supper. They were making fun of Michelangelo's painting and all this stuff. No, they were attacking the New Testament, because when Jesus did the Last Supper in front of his disciples, he said, remember this. Every time you do this, when you partake of this bread, this is my body, which was broken for you. And here's my blood that was shed for you on the cross. Remember this. Every time you get together, this is to be a special ritual as a reminder of us being in his kingdom one day. And he's like, I'm not going to drink this wine until we're all together again. So they attacked that. They attacked our foundation of our faith. It wasn't just, they weren't just teasing. They knew what they were doing. These are diabolical beings that are using drag queens. They are drag queens, whatever. They're attacking us point blank. And I know a lot of people, a lot of Christians are like, oh, well, that was just, they were making fun of everybody. No, this is something diabolical. This is something demonic. They hit us right between the eyes. They knew exactly what they were doing. And there's going to be payback, but I believe it's going to be God himself that's going to handle this. This almost feels eerily similar to Sodom and Gomorrah, when you had Lot with the two witnesses, the two angels that were like, we're looking around for righteous people, and we got to remove you because we got to destroy the city. Well, you have more than two witnesses. You have millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that mock God, mocked his son, mocked the New Testament. They directly came back against us as Christians, point blank. It's like they drew a line. And I think there's going to be repercussions from that moment forward.
The power went up. God right away showed them, I'm going to judge this whole city. Here's a warning. I'm going to shut the power off. And it's not going to end there. That whole city is going to be desolated with a nuclear weapon. God's going to allow it. He's going to recommend it. Okay, you're definitely, there's nukes going to drop here, nuke will drop here. Definitely drop one right here. I'll allow that to happen. So Paris will be decimated by a nuke. It will be.
Man, oh man. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good unless something miraculous happens where they repent. But to openly mock God on that fashion is incredible. Like the kahunas that you have to think that God is not watching, that God is not listening. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they keep pushing God's buttons, folks. You keep doing it, you're really going to tick him off one day. And he's already an angry guy with this world already. He's going to drop the hammer like the world's never seen at any moment now, folks. We're here still. Obviously, the rapture hasn't happened, and he's not going to drop that hammer quite yet on us. But we're feeling like he's getting his hands on the grip of the hammer, and he's getting ready to drop it. And he's tightening his grip. He's getting ready to drop it, and we're not going to be here when it happens. And the way to know that is all what you all just said, Shane and Bob, about this, the sexual morality. I can't say that word sometimes, morality or whatever. It's people, like, you go back to the 50s and the 40s, and if they just seen what they see, if let's say they had a time machine or a portal and they looked into 2024, they'll say, well, that's crazy how they all act. Let's look at this. It's sick. Back then, if a woman in the 50s even swore, she would be considered a whore. Okay? Today, it's common that everybody swears. It's no big deal. And you just see, Satan knows his time is getting short. And he's going to do everything he can to pull the world into his web of seduction through sin, sexual immorality, all kinds of garbage that we're seeing that they're making in front of the Last Supper at the Olympics. Just things that are like in the norm. People accept it. Oh, this is normal. It's funny. And, good is bad and bad is good. It's the
There you go.
opposite. It's upside down, folks. The world is upside down. And Satan's just sitting there laughing his butt off. I got all of them. I got men dressing up like women now. He is laughing his butt off. He's smacking his hand on his head. I can't wait. I'm going to have so much fun during the tribulation with these people. And he's gathering by the handfuls. Every day people go to hell, folks. Every second someone's going to hell right now. Think about it. Because they didn't accept Jesus Christ. And Israel's facing a multi-front war in September, or even now. It could spark it, and I look at all these articles, Netanyahu is consulting with defense chiefs considering a preemptive measures. Now that sounds like a direct hit right there without even Iran attacking them first. Satan wants the world to annihilate itself. He wants everybody fighting, wants everybody to kill each other. And he's doing it because he knows that they don't believe in Christ. If I could get everybody to kill each other because they don't believe anyways, that's a lot of people he'll have coming to hell. Hell is expanding, like Bob said, that, Yellowstone's going to blow. You know why it's going to blow? Because hell is about to blow onto the surface of the earth during the tribulation. That volcano probably will blow during the tribulation, and it's going to spew out not just fire and smoke, but demons that we have never seen. Giants. A giant could punch his fist right through that volcano and blow it if he wanted to. The Nephilim is coming back, folks. It's all coming, folks. Right now is the time. Today is the day of salvation. Don't wait till you die. Don't wait till that, because that happens if you die. Some people want to wait till they wait. I know that sounded weird. In other words, don't wait until it's too late. You're going to miss the rapture if you do. And you're not guaranteed your next breath. We're not guaranteed tomorrow, folks. When your time comes and you're not saved, there is no get out of hell card. You're not handed a yellow card like Monopoly. Oh, here you go. Now you can come up to heaven. No. Once you're there, you are there forever. It's eternity.
No, it's a good point. I think it's a good perspective to have, and we're not trying to scare people into the kingdom, but if it works, it worked for me. If it works, that's great. But the idea is, we don't want you to show up in front of Christ and say something silly like, I never knew. You can't help but know. If you go to Depart Your Heavens channel, where every day he's talking about this stuff, you can't help but go to End Time Dream and Vision and hear Bob talk about this. You can't help, not so random, a little bit more on the kind side, going, guys, you got to get your hearts right today with love. And we're all talking about the same thing, that time is short. Don't take that for granted, because we're warning you. We're sometimes we're a little crude around the edges, going like, look, this could happen tomorrow. So don't be shocked if Israel gets bombarded. Don't be shocked. It sounds crude today, but if it happens, you're going to be like, wow, these guys were talking about this last week, last month, last year. Like, they just keep hammering on this. There's something going on inside of our spirit where we're like, man, we just got to shout this from the rooftops. Something's coming. Get ready. Get ready for the Lord. Jesus is coming back for his body. And we are not under the wrath of God. That is not for us. Don't get that plan mixed up with the world. The world is mocking Jesus Christ daily, from every corner. That's not us. We're telling you to turn, to repent, to come to know Jesus Christ, so that you could be snatched out of this world for a time while the world gets leveled. You don't have to be a part of it. That's why we're telling you.
Right. You know how close we are right now. I'll give you guys a great example. Going back to say, what are we on the brink of? You know, we just talked about the Red Horse of War, how that whole peace thing is going to explode. All right. You had to think about, too, the fourth seal. What's the fourth seal? It's a green horse, a pale horse, sickness. Okay. Global sickness. Now, we just went through one back in 2020. All right. It was a pandemic. It was manufactured. It wasn't organic. And this one coming up is not going to be organic. Well, part of it's going to be manufactured, but it's going to be further exasperated by the green horse of war when it shows up. Okay. And here's why. All right. Now, back in 2020, we had the whole thing with snake bite, right? Got a lot of people that took that thing, and here we are thinking that people that got bitten by that snake, all right, they were probably, some of them died right away, all right? But I think that whole thing's going to mature in 2025. I think that whole thing's going to mature. Whatever anybody got bit by that snake, it's going to mature in 2025, which means people are going to start dropping like flies. All right. And it doesn't matter what they put out there. They could put out there camera flu. All right. Tree flu. All right. I know they're going to go with the bird one. All right. That's what they're going with right now. It doesn't matter what they put out there, because what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to drop dead because what happened in 2020, 2021. And they know that. So what they got to do is get everybody ready now. First, they got to put something in the forefront for everybody to look at and say, hey, this is what's causing it. Not that thing you took several years ago. This is what's causing it right now. And the reason why I say that is because in 2025, I believe this pandemic is going to take off, just like in 2020, because the elite right now are preparing for it. What they're doing is they have what's called the International Bird Flu Summit, and they're going to be doing on, guess what day? October 2nd, the Feast of Trumpets.
Wow.
And they're doing the summit to prepare the world what to do if you have a global disease. All right. Now, they're doing that on Feast of Trumpets, behold, okay? But what happened in 2020, or actually 2019, all right? In 2019, they had the exact same thing that the World Economic Forum put on, called Event 201.
Yeah.
And they did the exact same thing as this event they're about to do this year.
They planned it all out and went through it step by step.
They planned the whole thing out in 2019, had a big summit on it for the whole world, for the whole global sickness in New York City is when they did it. And guess what day they did it on? October 20th, which was October 20th. Yeah, and it was the Day of Atonement. Wow. Okay, so they did it on October 20th, 1920th, all right? And that was on the Day of Atonement in 2019, all right? So that's what happened in 2019. This whole thing got rolled out in 2020. Now they're doing this whole thing on the Feast of Trumpets again, the whole thing all over again. And it's safe to say that this whole thing is going to roll out next year in 2025, just in time for the fourth seal to be opened while we're standing before the throne of God. Wow. Okay. And I think they're gonna roll this thing out, and they're gonna do all the same crap. They're gonna get the media involved. It's going to be worse than you think it is, and they're gonna do what they're going to do. But then, guess what? That green horse rider is going to show up. It's like, you guys think you did a bad thing here. I'm going to further exasperate the whole thing, just like the Red Horse of War. It's going to further exasperate everything. Yeah. Okay. So they're getting ready for it. Something's coming in 2025, guys. Remember, the Deagle reports say that, like especially in the United States, 90% of us are gone by next year.
Wow.
Sounds like the rapture almost. I mean, because a lot of people are going to be gone regardless. There's going to be a depopulation coming in a twinkle of an eye. And then the rest of the world, of course, Satan's going to have in the palm of his hand, because there'll be nothing but non-believers here left behind. And then they're just going to snap on that day. They're going to show their true colors. They're going to be like, it's going to go all crazy in one day. Yeah. A lot of people are going to die on that day too, folks.
And I think
the most destructive event that's coming possibly would be the rapture.
And I think there is a verse in the Old Testament, I'm trying to think where it is, where basically people are being removed one by one, and the world is unaware that God is doing it to protect them from what is about to happen. Like, they're unaware that They think, oh man, these people just got something happened to them. Some alien took them out into another world or whatever it is, captured them or whatever. Too bad for them. They're not aware that God is removing us so that the wrath could come upon the whole earth. Like, we're talking coast to coast. We're not just talking about one little pocket here and there. Like, there's reasons why Jesus said it will be like the days of Noah. So what happened? Well, there was violence all over the world. All over. This is a global destruction that came upon the earth. It wasn't just a little city and then little pockets of rebellion and then it got squashed. The whole world got wiped out. And if it wasn't for Noah building the ark and saving his family, it's over. Game over. And this is what's going to happen again. But you have to remove the righteous from the unrighteous. And the only way to do that is through the rapture, because otherwise you're mowing everybody down. You're putting everybody under the wrath of God. And Paul the Apostle said that we are not ordained to wrath. That's not talking about the lake of fire. We're already aware that we're saved from the lake of fire. But the wrath to come, there's always, it's coming. It's coming. Wrath is coming. Jacob's trouble is coming. You can't deny it. This is what we're warning. This is why we're crying out every single day on our channels all over North America. And there's obviously other YouTube channels in Europe and everywhere, but there's a reason why we're all in sync and we're saying something's coming down the pipes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just shared on our private chat the Isaiah 57:1, and it says that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. Is that what you were looking for?
Yes, I think so.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
Isaiah.
I'm sure there's others, but that I did come across that one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we need to be taken out of here because one, like you said there, Shane,
Yeah.
wrath can only be poured out once we are removed. We already seen that happen. That protocol, for example, Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot and his family, they got dragged out of that city against their will. They didn't want to leave. They got dragged out of that city because they were horsing around, taking their time. They didn't want to leave. And Lot's wife turned around, she got turned to a pillar of salt. They did not want to leave, but at least they heed the angel's instructions when they were getting dragged out of there. So essentially, they got harpazoed out of there against their will. When we get harpazoed out of there, we're going to love it, but we're going to be yanked out of the way. And the thing is, like I said, we need to be removed so the wrath can be poured out, for one. Two, they have it's a time of testing. We're not under the time of testing. That's not our gospel. The gospel during the tribulation is a testing gospel. You're tested against the mark of the beast, okay? You're tested against denying God, okay? You're tested under all these guidelines during the time of the tribulation, which requires Revelation 14 angel instituting this gospel and announcing it to everybody, because that angel will be censored during that time. Like us, we will be censored during this time. They can shut us down, guys, and we won't have a voice no more, but that angel will still have a voice, so the angel won't be censored. All right. So we really wouldn't be much good for God here anymore because we won't have this platform. So our gospel, and other reasons, our gospel will no longer be valid, because what's a time of testing if you have an easy way out like we do right now? So those people, they don't have an easy way out. The only way out is get your head cut off. That's it. Not to just believe in Jesus, accept the gift of grace and stuff like that, what we have today. We don't have to get our heads cut off. They do. So in order for that to happen, that gospel can no longer be offered here. And only way that can happen, you got to remove us who are offering that gospel, so there's no confusion on how to get saved after that. And besides, the other reason is we are a governmental celestial body that is completed at the day of the rapture resurrection. Everybody that got entered into this governmental celestial body of Christ, from Paul, who said he was chief, all the way to the last person that enters that celestial body, okay? Well, you don't know who is it going to be or when. But when that happens, on that day, those people within the confines of the age of grace, That is a governmental celestial body that's complete, that nobody else will be added to that body ever again. The tribulation saints are not part of the body of Christ. Okay? None of the tribulation saints afterwards can enter and have the rights and the abilities that we will have. We are a completely separate entity. It'd be like the government's building a military, and they're rebuilding all of our militaries. They got rid of them all and said, hey, we are going to build the Navy first. So bring everybody in for the Navy. Okay, the Navy's complete, done, sealed. All right, now let's build the Marines. Bring it into the Marines, okay? And done, sealed, good. Now let's build the Army, okay? You don't have a choice which one to go into. No, they put you where they want to put you. So we'll build the Navy, then we'll build the Marines, then we'll build the Army, okay? Look, so basically like Navy, the body of Christ, done. All right. Tribulation saints, yeah, you guys are going to be a part of the Marines. All right. We're going to be building that during the tribulation. You see what I'm saying? They cannot be a part of the Navy because the Navy force is built. The body of Christ is built and done and in heaven and removed. Okay. And that's how it is going forward. And the tribulation saints, you can't be a tribulation saint. You can't become a tribulation saint during the millennial reign, can you, Shane? No. Because they're under tribulation. So the tribulation saints are going to be their own group. And however that God's going to work that, but they'll be their own group. And then people who get saved during the millennial reign, they're going to be their own group. Like I said, you got Navy, Marines, Army. You see what I'm saying?
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
No, I like it. I like it. And I think I still haven't found the verse, but this one's kind of interesting here. Maybe somebody else can find it, but it's basically one by one, not knowing that it is for their protection. But this is basically, what are we seeing here? Verse 26, verse right down here. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? Let me just make it full screen for a second here. So if you go all the way down to verse 20, now, I'm not trying to take verses out of context. Obviously, you have to read the whole chapter, who this is for and that. But this is an interesting verse where it says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee, hide thyself, as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. So, for behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. What do you guys think about that verse?
I stood on that verse during 2020, and I knew a lot of pastors that would share that as a way to kind of make sense out of what's going on and what the church should be doing in a time like this. Not to close up, but to be in your secret place. More so.
Yeah. For sure. Rick, what are your thoughts?
Run it past me again just a little bit. Just like, what's the question?
Yeah, so basically, the idea is, again, I don't want to take the verse out of context, but this verse sure smells like there is destruction coming. Like if you look at verse 20, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee, hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity.
See what my thoughts on these verses, okay?
Yeah.
It sounds like God is gathering his elect from out of harm's way, to sum it all up. I think that's what that looks like. Sounds like he's gathering people, snatching us out of the way. Like when somebody's standing in a road, they don't see the car coming, you come up and push that person, grab them off the highway really quick. You snatch them out of harm's way. That sounds like what that is up to. Now, like I said, you said it, you don't want to take it out of context. Well, this is just my opinion, folks. I think that the Lord is a foregoing warning that is coming, that he's going to remove his elect from this world, and then there's going to be a destruction of the earth by God's judgments, and they're foregoing almost in full progress. We're just seeing the beginning parts of it right now,
Yeah.
And then the Lord's going to go ahead and go into full judgment mode here not long from now.
Yeah.
So, that's basically what I think that might be,
Yeah, like if you go back all the way to Abraham, there's a reason why Moses wrote this down for us to listen and basically read Abraham plead with God saying, will you destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if there's 50 righteous people? Actually, God came up with the number first. But then Abraham became bold and said, what about 45? What about 40? What about 30? What about 20? So you have to look at that. This is after the flood. Why would Moses spend time, who we know saw Christ in the future? Why would Moses, who wrote about Christ, write this in about Abraham pleading with God? Because Abraham had to know what kind of a God he was getting into, like to worship. Are you a God that destroys the righteous with the unrighteous? Is that what you were talking about here? Are you like all these little G gods that people worship that are really just sticks and stones and all this kind of stuff? Or are you a God that actually removes the righteous from the unrighteous and destroys the righteous? Like, I need to know. And God's like, I'm not going to, if I find 10 people, I'm not going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And in fact, it was only like 4 people that he found. And you can question whether or not they're righteous, but he found 4 and snatched them out of Sodom and Gomorrah against their will. You could say, oh no, God would never do that. But in this case, Lot was still trying to figure out what to do. And the angels are like, okay, we got to get you out of here because we can't destroy this place if you're here. So why would we get a story like that? Because there's post-tribbers that will say, no. We got to earn our salvation. We got to earn our stripes by burying our wife. Basically, we're saying Jesus is burying our wife his wife into the mud in order to present her holy. Like he's got to suffocate her and make her eat all the mud and dirt. And basically her dress is all dirty and torn up. And it's like, there, now you're presentable. It's ridiculous. There's nowhere in scripture you can find that's how God operates. He always removes. And we're not talking about persecution. People just somehow go, oh, you're saying Corey Ten Boom said in China that there's no such thing as persecution, so she was mad at it. It's like, no, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah,
Paul
I'm glad you're clearing that up.
Paul was telling us, look, you're going to face tribulation, you're going to face persecution, but that's not the wrath of the Lamb coming upon earth.
Right.
We just read a verse that said, look, I'm pulling you away so that until the indignation goes past. That means the whole world is going to face the wrath. Why? Because they mock God every single day. They say, where is this guy? Where is this God that you speak of every single day in your channel? Mm-hmm. He's not coming. And they spit in his face every single day. They mock him openly, and we're telling you one day there's going to be a reckoning. He's going to bring his reward, and it's not a little medal. His reward is wrath upon the earth. He's going to reward all those for the way that they're living. They're rejecting Jesus Christ. You can't get around that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad you cleared that up about the tribulation and stuff, because people think that, you're saying that you're not going to go through bad times. You're not going to go through this. You're not going to go through that. I'm like, God forbid. Wrath and what you go through on a daily basis, it's going to be 2 totally different things. So I'm glad you cleared that up.
I like the fact that you pointed out the fact that post-tribbers, we gotta fight, we gotta bleed, we gotta, like everything you just said there, we gotta earn our way. And you know what? You're right. You do have to earn your way as a post-tribber. You're absolutely right. It's not for me. I'm not a post-tribber. You know why? Because I'm taken out here pre-trib rapture. The people that get left behind, that's what you got to do to get saved. So the post-tribbers are right. Yeah, they just think that it applies to us who believe in the pre-tribulation rapture, who are truly saved. Okay, it doesn't apply to us. It only applies to you people. that believe in your works, because I know they believe in their works. They don't trust in the blood of Jesus as the gift, because if you understand how the gift works, you begin to understand the spirituality, the conversion of the body at the rapture resurrection, and the confines of rightly dividing and dispensationalism. You begin to understand all that stuff. But if you think that you're saved by your works, you're going to reject all of that, which means people who believe in post-trib, they also trust in their works. They don't trust in Jesus to save them completely. If you don't trust in Jesus 100%, then you're not saved. Okay? If you trust Jesus 99%, but the 1% you got to do to complete the transaction, you are not saved. You're still going to hell. Okay? It's just like when you download something off the internet, and if it goes to 99% and it sits there, is it downloaded? No, it's not downloaded. It has to go to 100%. And here's the other thing too. The rapture.
It's a corrupted file too. It's a corrupted file.
And the other thing
little
too,
bonus.
Thank you.
Thank Sodom and Gomorrah. Why didn't God destroy? If God knew that if there was 10 righteous, he would not destroy. And there was 4 righteous that were left, so he removed them. At the rapture, he removes all the righteous, even the children. Anybody that's alive spiritually on the earth at the rapture will be removed.
Gone.
At that point, you're going to have a global setting, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Once we're all removed, God will instantly look at the earth in that moment and say, "There's not one single person on this planet currently at this point that's going to heaven. Everybody on this planet at this current moment, if they were all to die right now at this moment, they will all go to hell. Everybody." That is when God says, "There is no righteous here. Now I can pour out my wrath of Daniel's 70th week." Now, but no, there'll be people that will get saved though during Daniel's 70th week. And those numbers will start to grow slowly across the globe. Okay, but when we are removed, it's Sodom and Gomorrah. Right at that moment, at that interchange, nobody left on the earth is righteous. They're all wicked. Every single person on the planet is wicked, which means God could follow that protocol and pour out his wrath Daniel's 70th week.
And you have to
Tribulation rapture truth right there.
And you have to understand that there's a reason why God is sealing 144,000 from Israel as well, because if he didn't do that, they would be gone, extinct. They would be just wiped out. So that should give you, there should be some little metrics that you can go and think about it and lie awake at night and go, that sounds like this is going to be pretty bad. Yeah, it is going to be pretty bad. That's why he had to seal them. Otherwise, they would be destroyed. So imagine people that are raising their fists, dodging 75-pound hailstones, trying to skip around while they're stealing food and killing people, and trying to, after they take the mark of the beast as well, and they're running around, they're trying to avoid the wrath of the Lamb, asking for people to hide them, government agencies, whatever. These are not your run-of-the-mill Christians that are like waiting for Jesus Christ. These are people that are diabolical, that hate what Jesus Christ stands for, who he is as a person, what he did on earth. They will raise their fist up towards heaven, cursing him. Those are the people that are going to be left behind. It's not like mom and pa and all this that love the Lord and maybe they can't make it to church. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people that actually reject Jesus Christ and they come against him and they worship the devil and they love to worship the devil. Those are the people that are going to get a smoke show like they will never believe.
That's a good point. Exactly.
People are just messing around. They're messing with time. They're playing around with their salvation right now. They think they got time. They think they got all the time in the world. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube of people. They're uploading their parties, their beach videos. All these things are on yachts or on boats. They have their beers in their hands. And all they're thinking about is today, what they're doing right now. And they probably heard us at one time or other, not us here on this show, but they probably heard somebody on the street preaching, and it doesn't even faze them. It doesn't even come into their ear. It does, but it goes right out the other really quick. They hear it and they say, "Oh, that guy's crazy. He's talking about the end of the world. I'm going to drink my beer and enjoy my life today.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are going to be caught off guard.
Yeah.
All the downtown clubbing crowd, they don't think about anything. They don't even see the news. When they see the news, they don't watch the news. A majority of them probably don't. And if they do, oh, it's just a war going on over there. Let's go out tonight. Let's go have a beer.
Yeah.
And the only thing they're talking about is what they're doing today,
Yeah.
and what they're going to do in the future, maybe a little bit. And that's the majority of a non-believer's lifestyle is total rejection of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do people attack me about this? But it's the truth hurts. You're going to sit there and play with time and your eternity that you're about, because one of those people are going to go home that night and they're going to die in a car accident. It can happen, okay? And that person's next breath will be in hell, and he'll say, I was just in my car, had a beer right there in my holster, listening to some rock and roll, and the next minute I was gone, and I'm in this terrible place, hell. And why am I here? And, Satan's going to point it out to you that you didn't take Jesus Christ. I mean, because he knows he's one of God's angels, he used to be. Now he's the fallen one. And, he's going to tell you, look, this is where you're going to be for all eternity. And he's just like, no, I don't want to be here. I want to go back up to there and be back in my car on my way home. I don't want to be here. And that's not going to happen, folks. Once you end up in hell, that's it. Now, I know I just said that earlier when I got to talk on here, that this needs to be, I need to get this to your head, because right now the rapture's coming, and it's coming quickly, I believe. It can happen this year. It can happen during the feast holidays, okay? And, you look at us like we're a bunch of crazy people on here saying, well, they're talking about people are going to disappear. Aliens are coming. Yeah, drink another beer, okay? Go ahead. Okay? But guess what? Your time is coming.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have to give account of your sins. Your time is coming that you're going to have to answer to God. See, they don't hear the street preachers on the street. They don't hear God. But God's going to make sure that his voice is heard loud and clear during the tribulation. They're going to hear it whether they like it or not. They're going to miss all those downtown party nights. It's over with, folks. When the rapture comes, that is the day that it all ends. Right there on that very day.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, like you mentioned with the devil. Like I honestly believe, like with regards to the devil, he's not in control of the lake of fire or anything. He's gonna get punted into the lake of fire. He's already going to be judged. Like there's no, hey, you had a chance to do this or whatever, because he's eternal, and he gets locked up one day in the future after Armageddon. He will get locked up into the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. And then when he gets, after 1,000 years, he gets released for a short time, and an angel will actually take him and toss him into the lake of fire, where the false prophet and the Antichrist are there. And there will be no conversation about anything other than there will be weeping, crying, gnashing of teeth, anybody that's in the lake of fire, because they know that they rejected Jesus Christ. They know they rejected the Messiah. And don't forget, there's a third of the angels that will be punted into the lake of fire as well. They will be judged harshly. And anyone that rejects Jesus Christ will also be in the lake of fire for all eternity. And it's harsh, but this is why we warn you, saying, look, you don't have to be there. The lake of fire was not designed for you. It was designed for the devil and his angels. But the devil and his angels are convincing people that they are going to squash any attacks from heaven, and they're going to rule the world. That's what they're convincing people. And if you take the mark, they'll be like, you're on our side. We'll take care of you, everything, not realizing that their destruction is going to be swift.
Yeah, once people realize right after the rapture, once that happens, okay, you think about it. This event has never happened before, and they're going to make sure that they have this whole thing censored, and I know that's why he has so much censorship, because it's not about trying to censor everything from the news. Obviously, they're trying to censor everything, get ready for the mark of the beast, and this whole thing, this whole narrative that they're going to sell the people of the planet going to 2030 and essentially showing up and telling everybody, hey, I know all these people disappeared. We know where they're at. Okay. And we know who took them. And it can go either way. They go, yeah, so-and-so took them and we can get them back for you. Well, we all need to team up here. All right. Global Team Earth. Okay. We all need to team up. We will lead you. And they're going to come back, or they're going to bring them back, and we're going to fight them and in 2030. Say goes that direction, and they need to get this army built. And hey, you humans need to be upgraded because you can't fight the way you are. Take this mark of the beast. That will swear your allegiance to us. It'll make you greater, more powerful, and you can fight with us. We're going to fight together to keep this planet. And once we beat them in 2030, then we have all this incredible stuff ready and waiting for you. And everybody, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, team up together and save the planet. Okay. And they're going to wait for us to return. All right. And square off with us. So that's one way they're going to do it. Or they're going to say, hey, they took all these people, and they're going to say that we took them, the fallen angels. We put them on this planet. We're re-educating them, okay, and we can return them to you if you do X. Okay, you do this, and that, and then we'll bring them back. We'll put you all together. Okay, they could do it that way as well. All right. So they're basically the Antichrist when he shows up. He's going to have a solution to reunite you with your loved ones that were taken. All your kids that were taken. He's going to be the guy that could say, hey, I could bring you all back together, like all Thanos style. Okay, made you disappear. And we're the team that can bring everybody back together. Avengers Endgame. Okay, we can do it, And I think that's what the Antichrist is going to do. He's going to be that guy and his people. And they're going to be like, we could bring everybody back that got swept away, and you all could be with your kids again. You could be with their loved ones, okay? But in the meantime, we need to, thin the herd, okay? And we need to build an army here to face off with Jesus coming back. He's a false Messiah, and we need to build this global army for 2030 in preparation for 2030, okay? So I kind of went all over the place there.
No, it's good.
Trying to cover which way this can go, what excuse that they're going to use, all right? But it's going to be something like that. I think that's how they're going to unite the whole world, because it's going to be about the rapture, why they unite. They're not going to unite just because everybody wants to hold hands and be friendly with each other.
Right.
The whole world's going to unite because they want some hope about being reunited with the loved ones that were taken in the rapture.
Yeah, if you could spin it from the idea that they were taken by aliens or whatever, man, you can get a lot of people to sign up. And if you want to know who's who, we need to mark you so that we could separate you from these other people. We need to know who the spies are that are left, and we're going to martyr them. We're going to behead them or whatever it is, because they're not taking the mark. But you don't have to be there. And we're going to, like Bob said, we're going to try and get your family back. They're abducted by these aliens or whatever, and they've probably changed them so they're not going to look quite the same. So we're going to have to amp you up a little bit, put some new artificial limbs. We're going to give you a little bit of Nephilim juice to just boost you up a little bit. It's going to feel good. It's going to be a little bit better than Red Bull. And then you're done. There's no going back because you crossed that line. That's not for us right now, because today is the day of salvation. And this is the part that people miss. When you're a believer, you can't lose that. You can't lose your salvation. How do we know this? Well, you just have to go to Hebrews, where God said to people, a pocket of people that were in unbelief died in the desert. They just died like flies. Why? Because they didn't believe. So they didn't go into the promised land. You have to really understand this to understand why we believe in eternal security. There were a group of people that did not believe. So God swore in his wrath that they would not enter into his rest, therefore signifying that there's another day of rest. What is that? Well, because of the dualistic nature of God, when he says, I'm swearing by my wrath, like in wrath, that you're not getting in because of unbelief. He's also saying, if you believe, you're not getting out. I'm not letting you go out of my hand. Nobody's going to be able to pry you out of my hand. Jesus also said that. So if you think about it, God the Father has you in the grip of his hands, and he's going to use that same wrath to keep you in and protect you as to keep the people that are unbelievers. Why would you think that you need to do something else when this is God's plan for you? This is God's will that you be saved because of what his son done. That's the deal. The deal is you believe in his son. And when you believe, you're in. It's done. He finished his work. It's over. So why would you think that you got to do something to top the greatest thing that Jesus Christ did for us was to die for us? Why do you think you could top that? Why do you think you could trump that with something else by meeting the Antichrist, shaking his hand and saying, aha, I took you out? Are you ridiculous? Like, are you actually insane to say that you have to prepare to fight the Antichrist? Why? What do you get out of that? Salvation? Is that what you're saying? Because if you think you're going to get saved, you nullify what Jesus Christ did on the cross. You just spit on his grave. You just spit on him, and he's in heaven looking down going, I did all this for you to enter in, and all you have to do is believe what I did. Believe that I came to earth in the flesh, that I shed my blood on the cross, and it dropped onto the earth. That's the introduction of the New Testament. You need a testator to die in order for it to commence, to begin. We've talked about that in this channel. Like the gospel, you have the gospels, but that's not the New Testament yet. The New Testament is when Jesus Christ died and rose again. That's the beginning of the New Testament. So you could really shift it over until when he died on the cross. You could really start the New Testament there, because that's where it begins. That's the new covenant. That's what we've entered in because you believe in him. So to think elsewise, like to think something else, like, oh, I could do something that tops that, man, now you're facing the wrath of God, because the only way to get saved is through Jesus Christ himself. That's God's will. You're going against his will if you think there's another way to save you.
Yeah, ask Cain when he showed up with all his fruits and vegetables. I got my way. God's like, get that crap out of here.
Get that out. Slaps it out of his hand. Get that out of here.
Get that crap out of here.
Yeah.
There's
No,
noble. There's no working at the soup kitchen. That's a better work than what Jesus did at the cross at Passover. All right. And working at that soup kitchen for one day. Oh, you sweated a little bit. Went around handing some bowls out. Yeah. You're saved. Wow. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's not how it works, guys.
That's not how it works.
No.
I did my
So
little tour of the church.
Let's take some questions here. Let's see if somebody has any questions that are kind of interesting. I don't know. I guess put it in all caps. It might feel like we're shouting. But let's just see if we got something here. What are we doing here? Let's see. What's this one? If we are raptured, then immediately bombs, nukes are dropped, people will maybe think we were incinerated. That's an interesting point. How will they get a chance to even miss us, or why the need for fake alien ships? Good question. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Well, that's where I say this could go 7 different ways. All right. My argument at the beginning was, this could happen before the nuclear war. All right. And then the rapture will end up leading up to the nuclear war. But then I've also said, too, that the nuclear war is what triggers the rapture. So we don't know, really. I mean, ultimately, sorry to let you guys down. But, we're just mere mortal men. We filled the Holy Spirit. And you're talking about the biggest interchange time in the blink of an eye in the history of the world, and the global event that takes place outside of the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus Christ, the greatest moment of all time. But the second greatest one would be the rapture, resurrection. Okay, so this is still. I've been watching this for 20 years, looking at all these different alignments and different ways this thing can go down. and I still don't have it figured out yet.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so many different ways this can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I look at it as something has to, the Antichrist has to do something to get people to believe in him, that he can solve the world's problems at the end of the day. He solves everything, because you have to have Israel enter into a deal to sign some kind of a deal with the Antichrist that says, hey, he's going to either let you build the temple, or he's going to usher in peace for 7 years. Something happens halfway through where he declares himself to be God and betrays Israel. So something has to formulate for that to take place. And I think the rapture seems to me, the greatest Black Swan event, seems to fit that position where now you need all the world leaders to look to someone to say, look, this happened on a massive scale. Now what? How do we prevent this from happening again? How do we prevent more people from being kidnapped by aliens? How do we stop this stuff? Because we got people complaining and all this. So you solve that problem, people just run to take the mark
Of the beast. Do you think the mark of the beast, they'll use that? Say, take this mark and you'll be protected from being beamed up? That's
sure.
Great. I never thought about that.
People don't believe anything, the Antichrist.
Yeah, take a little bit of this Nephilim juice and then you won't be beamed up, because it'll mix your DNA up a bit so that you don't have to worry about it. And you might break into sores. Like the side effects may cause skin breakage, bleeding, eye bleeding.
Yeah. Don't take it if you're pregnant
whatever.
or nursing or become diabetic.
Yeah, exactly. All that kind of stuff, right?
Well,
so
they promise to being healed. They're going to say, oh, well, it will heal you. It will heal you from all your this and that. And you'll be like, okay, well, how do I get this wonder, whatever it's called? The
Nephilim juice.
Whatever, the mark of the beast, they're going to accept it. They're going to package it with something good that goes along with it. All the benefits that come with it, health benefits. I'm not talking about the regular health benefits we do at our job. We're talking the benefits of healing you from sickness. People are going to believe it because they're going to be living in a supernatural time, folks, where everything is supernaturally happening in front of their eyes. It's not in Hollywood movies anymore. It's now, that means they're going to believe anything they are told by this man.
Yeah.
It's interesting. He's promising all this. Let's take the mark.
Exactly.
And they got suckered in right there.
It's interesting that everything seems to be lining up for the fall. When you talk about Meta, you talk about Elon Musk, what he's up to, basically depleting all of the NVIDIA chips and pushing them over to X, and Google and all these companies are really pushing hard for AI. And I think one of the reasons is the deep fake. Once you perfect deep fake, you could slowly remove us one at a time and say, oh no, these people are still here, but just make a digital framework of that person and say, oh yeah, no, they succumb to sickness or whatever and they're gone or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you could still pretend that these people are around digitally. You could set it up where they're working from home. You would never know if the technology goes so far advanced. You would not be able to tell that Gary Gates is around or not around. We don't even know if Joe Biden is still around. Let's just be honest. Is Joe Biden around? That should almost be a title for a video. Is he around? Like, it seems like he's about 6'4" now, and I think he used to be at one time just a little bit taller than Jill, and now he's taller. And I'm like, how is that even possible? That at 80,
bad calculation on the AI messed up his height a little bit, guys. Oops.
It's weird, right? Like it just,
I keep
it's like
that movie, the movie Dave, where there was a duplicate made because the other one was sick. I mean, it's kind of funny. We see that in a movie years ago. Now it could be real.
It's unbelievable.
AI is crazy. They're going to AI.
So I think that's the push.
A way to use AI to fool the world.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next push, and probably, if it's not here already, like the technology is pretty close where we're starting to get fooled. left, right, and center, like with deep fake, where it's fooling us. Like I'm trained to look at videos and go, this is real, this is not real, because I use software to rotoscope, used to play around with animation, 3D Studio Max, all this kind of stuff. But that's nothing compared to the tools that they have today. They can match your voice. They have enough stuff right now today on my voice, my image, to be able to mirror, make me say things, whatever it is, and you guys would never know it. You'd never know it unless we have some kind of a secret hand signal or something.
They're probably, that's the amazing thing about that now. It's like, what if they try to shut every YouTube channel down, and they say they'll take your image, your voice, and just do an AI video of you doing some type of lewd act or something crazy.
Yeah.
And that's not me. I never did that. Yeah, but the public won't know. So either you shut down your channel or we will run this stuff here.
Yeah.
And it'll be at that point, it'll be like, I was like,
what do you do?
I think they can do that. I think they've done that stuff already to people.
Yeah. And why do you think politicians are in fear? Because they probably didn't need any AI to get dirt on them. They're all scared stiff because all you need is one whistleblower to say, hey, I have this on you and your family. And they're like, you know what? I'm backing down from whatever it was I was going to come against because I don't want this to get into the public. But they could do that with any one of us Christians. All they have to do is just make us say something, some word that gets banned, and you lost your voice on the channel. That's it. That's all they need to do to take you out, really.
Mm-hmm. That's where we're at. It's becoming too delicate for us to be here and operate and do what we're doing. This is why we're taken out here at the rapture, because it's no longer feasible for us to do what we do here. That's why during the tribulation, it requires a supernatural angel flying about the midst of heaven, doing the job that we do right now. Mm-hmm. Look, we fill the heavens right now with our voices. Essentially, our voices go up to these satellites and they're beamed down. It gets shot all over the world. So essentially, right now, we are reaching everybody right now, just like that Revelation 14 angel will. Okay, our voice is literally, it gets transferred from this microphone. It goes into my computer and it goes to my Wi-Fi box, goes outside, router does this stuff, and it goes up to a satellite.
Or goes to an undersea cable.
Yeah. So it gets shot everywhere. It gets shot to the heavens. My voice is in the heavens, shouting about the midst of heaven. So essentially, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But if we're no longer here, who's going to be shouting about the midst of heavens if these platforms and these microphones? Trust me, during the tribulation, you're not going to have people, tribulation saints getting on there and say, the Antichrist, he's going to ruin everything. He's going to send you to hell, take that more. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. No, you're not going to have that.
No, no, it'll be the opposite. And it could actually be Gary Gates or Rick or you or whatever with deep fake saying, hey, guys, we were wrong. We were wrong. It was aliens. And then use us to say that and then sway people as well. Like, it wouldn't be that difficult. If I was a diabolical creature, I would be like gathering all this information to build my case after the rapture and use my face and go, oh, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's actually aliens. Look at the footage. Look at this and all that. And people are like, but I thought you were saying the rapture. Yeah, exactly.
Look at Bob's eyes. They're glowing red and white and yellow.
Yeah, right now you can tell. Yeah, you could tell like Gary Gates is not an alien right now. Look at him. He's blinking. Look at that. It's not an alien. Aliens don't do that.
I blink all the time. The only thing fake about me is my background and sometimes a narration I might use. But
YouTube's got an option now. When you upload your video, you probably noticed it. There's a thing that says check yes or no if the content is altered, and then they explain if it's done by an AI generator. Okay. Yep. Also, if you look up YouTube videos, there's numerous videos of people that they have took a text to AI and it's got it right down to the perfect detail. You can't distinguish it from the real thing. There's a woman walking through. It was a rainy night downtown, They show up close, a commercial. It looked like a trailer for a movie. I thought it was really done by a Panavision camera, real deal, and it was all AI. So they've already got this thing already set up. Now I just know where this is going. Satan's going to use it for the mark of the image of the beast to fool the masses. Because once he can take over AI. We know demonic and demons can go into AI, get it to say whatever they want it, get it whatever image. They're going to have so much. The devil's going to have so much fun with AI during the tribulation. It's not going to be funny, folks.
So imagine getting to a point where, like right now, let's just say every time you make a video, if you use deepfake, whatever, you have to have somewhere on your video that says that you created it by deepfake, whatever. You used AI software to create this. Okay, you build that up. You condition us to a point where all of a sudden they remove that. They actually create like AI videos, and they don't have any markers on it. And then you're going to go, oh, wow, YouTube would never lie to me. This must be authentic because look, there's no artificial intelligent markers that say this is created by deepfake or whatever. Therefore, ergo, this must be real. And you'd fall for it now because you don't have any. So you got to go through the wave of conditioning people to go, oh, they would never lie to me on this is this is AI created, because they could even do something with Trump and say, look, like a week from now, and go, oh, look, this was created by AI because look, they added blood here, and this is what it looks like without the blood, and he actually put his hand on his ear. And if you erase the original footage and take it down, you would never know, because the history would be erased right before our very eyes. You'd never know. You'd be like, oh, yeah, it's fake blood. Look at that. It's crazy.
Yeah. I seen a video where it had the AI. They asked the AI to sing a song, and asked, for example, there's one video I saw. It asked the AI, hey, I want to hear Freddie Mercury sing Come Sail Away. And it had, because Come Sail Away is done by Styx, and it's Dennis DeYoung that sung the song. Okay, so the AI did the whole song just like a studio version, but it was Freddie Mercury's voice perfectly. Wow. It's like he did the song and he sung it, and I listened to it like, that's Freddie Mercury, and he sang the entire song with the backup singers and everything. It was perfect, like a studio. Wow. I was like, I know he didn't sing that song.
No,
but that AI pitched that when did the whole song. His voice, like he said the whole thing. So the AI could take my voice here and just say, it doesn't even have to use a picture of me talking. It could just use a picture of me doing this.
Yep,
and then use my voice as a. It didn't do like a whole hymn, like playing the piano, doing everything. It just showed him, just did a thumbnail. But it used his voice, and it had him sing the entire song, which means it can use my voice and narrate something for like 5 minutes straight. I could sit here, and it could just put words in my mouth and narrate using my voice a whole bunch of crap that I never said, and it could do it for like 5 minutes straight. It could have me say whatever it wants.
I will be nervous if Rick starts singing Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. If you start singing it, I'm going to be like, what?
I'm just kidding.
Do you like Michael Jackson, Rick? Like, do you like Billie Jean? I think you do. I kind of feel like I think you do. No?
It's all filled with profanity.
Because if I see a deep fake tomorrow now, because Rick is on there singing Billie Jean.
Guys, it really wasn't a deep fake. It was really me. And chances are, when I get off, I can't wait to get off here and go sing Michael Jackson songs.
Can you give us just one little ee-hee? Can you do that, Rick?
I'm hungry.
See, that's pretty
I'm
close.
Hungry.
That's funny.
Dinner is staring at me. I'm going to my restaurant. I'm going to go eat steak and potatoes. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to sing Billie Jean while I'm eating in front of everybody. There you go.
You got to give me a little. You got to give me a little ee-hee. All right. Okay. There we go. That's pretty close. Okay. So another question. We're losing the panelists.
We're losing it, guys.
Yeah,
we're
losing
crazy.
it. I'm hungry actually right now. You reminded me of steak. I'm like hungry. Okay, one more question, and then we'll do a little wrap up here. Let's see. Let's find a juicy steak here.
Oh,
questions.
Come on, man.
Let's see.
I'm gonna hit the leave studio button. You say that again.
Yeah, let's do some
I'm
grits
hungry.
and some gravy. Let's see here. Any good questions? Do you guys see any in the comments? Anything good?
Okay, recommend. Let's see here. Oh, I knew
Oh,
that,
Bob,
Rick. Yeah.
Bob, did you see the where Randy Travis, because of his problems he has, he came out with a song thanks to AI.
Andrew
a new
Pickett's got a
song.
question. Right
Did
Oh,
you
you
here.
see
did?
that?
I
Yeah.
think I heard something.
The AI
Andrew
did the whole
Pickett.
song for Randy Travis, and he never sang it once.
Wow.
Yeah, he never sang it. It's
Shane,
brand new.
Andrew Pickett's
But
got a
they have
question.
his sound. Yeah.
I'm looking. Okay, question.
Wow. Yep.
Question. Brothers, in my study, Psalm 83, Isaiah 17,
Yes,
and Jeremiah
this is
49:35,
key right
break the bow of Elam, happen around the same time frame, possible rapture when bombs come down, we go up, then Ezekiel 38.
here. Huh. Bob?
Let's see. Yeah, that was for Bob, I think.
Bob's. We
So
know
basically,
Bob's-
he has,
Forget that part about
every
brothers.
war- every single biblical war that's executed at the beginning and during and at the end of the tribulation, essentially what he's laying out here. Psalm 83, Isaiah 17, which are probably within the same war.
Mhm.
They kind of roll into one another. Ezekiel 38 is after Ezekiel 38 war. There's 7 years where they clean up because their defeat was so bad that they had to cleanse the land for 7 years. Okay, so if you're cleansing the land for 7 years at the beginning of the tribulation, you're running into the mountains and hiding from the Antichrist. I don't know how you're going to be cleansing the land for 7 years.
Yeah.
I think the Ezekiel 38 war happens at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, at the end of the tribulation, in the first 7 years of them cleansing the land is the first Shemitah cycle that's executed that kicks off the millennial reign, 1,000 years of peace.
Yeah. I kind of push, like for me, myself, this is just me talking. I kind of push Ezekiel 38 a little bit further down to after the millennium, only because of like what you said. There's a major cleanup. Like there's major weapons that are being used. And Ezekiel talks about a fire coming down from heaven. Then the cleanup crew comes, which is Israel, cleaning up for seven years. And then there's 7 months after that of cleaning up all the bodies and everything. And then passengers are actually coming by to put a little flag to say, hey, you missed one. You missed a body here and there. So that doesn't feel like to me in the 7-year tribulation part, because it feels like there's a huge cleanup because Israel actually hires people to go and find these bodies. They call them buriers in Ezekiel 38, 39. Talks about that Gog, Magog, all that. Some people say, well, that's the Antichrist. Well, the Antichrist gets destroyed at Armageddon. He gets tossed into the lake of fire. But then after the Millennium Kingdom, you see the devil goes out around to the ends of the earth to gather more people. And then there's a huge fire that comes because they're trying to take out Israel and they're at peace. So there's no peace right now. So you push that down because there has to be a time period of peace. And the only time that happens to me is during the Millennium Kingdom, where Jesus Christ is reigning for 1,000 years. And there's evil people. When Gog of Magog comes down, there are people going, why are you attacking now? They're at peace. Why? This is weird. And that's when the fire comes down as soon as they approach Jerusalem. That's Jesus Christ intervening right there. Boom, stopping them. There's no war. There's no battle of people versus Christ. Right? It's done like instantly. So that's why I pushed that a little bit further, because it's different than Armageddon. Armageddon looks like a huge battle. They come around and they almost decimate Israel to a point where if Christ doesn't come back with his army, there's no one left from Israel. It's done. Like they're extinct. So that doesn't feel like the same time frame after the millennium, because Jesus Christ brings fire down, and it describes it in Ezekiel. So that's why I kind of lean. I'm like, it feels like when they're cleaning up all that mess, probably nuclear stuff going on, all kinds of crazy, like to clean up weapons for 7 years and actually use the fuel to basically fuel your city as well. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in there, but it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see
You
that.
know?
Takes us 7 years to burn a nuclear weapon, so that's another thing too. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of great things we're going to be finding out here shortly.
Yes.
Okay, once we get up there, we'll understand all this stuff.
Yep.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
All
So
the
let's
questions we answered.
let's have final thoughts here. So let's go. We'll go. Let's see. We'll go Rick, Bob,
Okay.
Gary, and then myself. So go ahead,
Well,
Rick. Final
my
thought.
final thoughts is Billie Jean is gonna buy me dinner tonight.
Hee hee.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, seriously, guys, the war that we know the war is coming. That's gonna wipe out 2/3 of Israel. Okay. We also know that Israel is about to go to war with Iran. It's been talked about for several years now. They've been planning on taking their nuclear facilities out, and that's what they want to do. Now can't be a better time to do it now this year. And it's funny, it's happening this year around September, which we think it's going to happen, because they got to get approval from the Senate, and they're out right now for 30 days. So it looks like the Lord is intervening for a reason. Okay, that is yet to be found out in September. I got my bags packed ready, folks, on that month, just in case. We should always have our bags packed. We got, in other words, be right with Jesus. Fact of the matter is, folks, is Israel is done with Iran. In other words, they are tired of their crap. They're tired of putting up with being this and that. It's time to end it once and for all. And this is what it looks like it's going to happen this coming September. The war was supposed to happen a few days ago. There was a delay. I just told you that. Now we're waiting to see what's going to happen in September. It looks like the U.S. is going to get involved, and more likely the vote will go through. When that goes through, folks, and they say go ahead and start hitting their facilities. Russia said it. If you do it, I'm helping them out. So it looks like a lot of bombs are going to be raining down on Israel in September. Now, folks, whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it the Ezekiel prophecy, whatever, even if it isn't, there's a ring of fire that's wrapped all around, surrounds Israel. It's 150,000 rockets. Some of those have been depleted over the war. The Lebanon war is coming. War is always being seen and painted all over 2024. Okay? Let me just wrap this up with a nice bow. Is we are seeing it coming our way. It's like a freight train. You see the light down there on the track. You hear the horn blowing coming out of the train. It's coming. The tracks are vibrating. It obviously the train is coming right at you. That is the way you should be seeing it. I'm addressing the non-believers right now. That train is your destruction coming. And if you're not smart enough to see that coming and to move out of the way that's what's coming for you. It's destruction. Now the way to get out of that train's harm's way, that rapture is about to pull us out of a train wreck that's about to happen. And it's all it is believing in Jesus, folks. Mm-hmm. That's it. Just you believe in Jesus Christ. He died for your sins, rose again on the third day, and do what the Lord wants us to do, by being obedient to God. That doesn't mean you can go hit the bars after you say that prayer. Mm-hmm. It does not mean that. No. It means to do what the Lord has commanded us to do. Mm-hmm. All right?
It's good.
Let's do this. Let's get busy, guys.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Rick. Brother Bob.
I had something really encouraging to share with you guys about the rapture. And I know people are really excited about that. 2 amazing things happened to me and my family where the Lord was essentially letting us know, hey, it's about that time. All right. Let's see here. It was Friday morning. Okay. Thursday night to Friday morning. All right. Well, my wife, first of all, she starts off with order of events. My wife has a dream that her and I are getting married. Okay. We've been married for 27 years. Okay. Actually, no, been together 27 years. We've been married for 23 years. Okay. So I was like, interesting. I'm thinking to myself right away, that's the wedding feast of the Lamb. Okay. We're getting married to Jesus. And in the dream, we are getting prepared. She has a wedding dress on. I got my my suit on, my tux on, okay? But it was indicating that we're about to get married. All right. And here's the thing, my wife doesn't dream very often at all, almost never. So when she dreams, I listen. Okay. That's what she dreamt that night. Okay. And this was when we were on vacation before I got back. Okay. So she dreams about that night. And then the next morning, we're getting ready to leave the cabin. And check this out. All of us get into the van. And before this happened, I'm like on the lake with my coffee that morning by myself, listening to praise and worship. And I said, Lord, please, if the rapture is about to happen soon, I would love to start receiving these signs, these alarms that were going off. I enjoyed these intimate communications with the Lord about the rapture and alarms and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. Well, that same morning, after that dream, we were all in the car, all in the van, getting ready to go. Okay. And before we started moving, our alarms went off. All of our phones went off at the same time. And we got an app. It's called a Life 360. Okay. Where essentially we can track where we're all four of us are at. Okay. And this Life 360 links all four of our phones together. All right. So if somebody's power on their phone gets too low, it'll send an alarm. It'll alert all four of us. An alarm will go off on our phones. And I'd be like, tell my son, hey, it says your phone's getting low on power. Better plug it in before it runs out of power. So that's how the thing works and a bunch of other stuff. So here's what happened. We're in the van, get ready to go, and our alarms went off, all four at the same time. And I'm like, interesting. And we all of us looked at our phones at the same time because we're like, who's low on power? Which one of us is low on power? And we all looked at our phones at the same time, and guess what? Every phone was at 77% power. All four phones were at 77% power.
Mm.
I was like,
That's
we
amazing.
all knew that there's no reason why. First of all, there's no reason why for that alarm to go off because you have to drop below 10% to trigger that alarm. None of us were below 10% on our phones, and it went off. And if it was a fluke, fine. It was a fluke in the system. No, I don't think so because when it went off, all of our phones were at 77% power.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So that happened. So I was like, the rapture is near. And then when I got home, check this out. When I got home that same day, all right, I looked in the car and it was 11:11 a.m. and we had 11,000. It was 11:11 was on the odometer for 11,100 miles, or 1,100 miles. Okay. So it was 11:11 on the odometer as well as it was 11:11 on my clock. All right. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. All right. So that is my testimony that the Lord said, hey, if you want to get excited, the rapture resurrection is going to happen soon. All right. If I'm speaking to you like this, ask him and he will speak to you like this, intimately, like this. If there's a type of communication that gets you excited, he will do that for you.
Cool.
Amen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing
November
that.
11th is Veterans Day coming up. So.
Oh, wow. Wow. 7-Eleven. Crazy. Gary.
Well, I keep on getting reminded of 2 Timothy 3, and people are like, hey, how do you know it's the last days? How do you know it's the last days? Well, the Bible says so. It says simply that, and I won't read it all, but I'll read a part of it. It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." Aren't we in perilous times? For men shall be lovers of their own self. Haven't we seen that? Covetous, boasters, proud. It's funny how certain people say the word proud and overly use it. And I'm not talking about necessarily a certain type of person. Lots of people, all ate up with themselves. Blasphemers, disobedient to parents. Haven't you seen that one? Thankful, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection. Wow. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much summing up what we saw with the Olympics.
Yep.
Lots of those things summed up in it. And I was going to say this earlier, and but I'll just end with it. Is that sort of like what Rick was talking about a little bit about the way the world is, and people not believing that we are in that time, and I just believe that don't get caught in the lie, people listening, that this is just another cycle. We're going to have a hard time, and then we'll have a good time. We'll have prosperous years. We'll have years that aren't so prosperous. We'll have a good president that everyone can get behind. We'll have bad ones. It's just a cycle, you know.
Yeah.
Well, this is not just a cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, history will repeat itself, and I think it is to prove that, hey, what's coming, it helps you to prepare for what's coming, but this goes off the rails of anything that we have ever seen in our time. The closest would be the flood, Sodom and Gomorrah, those types of biblical proportion type things going on. So whether your end is with us going to heaven, or you getting left behind, or a car wreck or a heart attack, I mean, one way or another, we're going to heaven or hell pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So you need to make sure your ticket is punched for the right place, and you do that by what you do with Jesus.
Yep. Awesome. That was nice. And speaking of which, again, if you don't know Jesus Christ, you could reach out to me. Here, let me just put this up here real quick. This is up here, right here. Just email me right here, blackswandiary2022@gmail.com. If you're curious about Jesus Christ, you're not sure, all this stuff, let's jump on a Zoom together. I'll walk you through everything. I'll walk you through what it takes to be a Christian, how to get saved, everything. Just email me. We'll do a Zoom call one-on-one. It'll just be me and you. And we'll have a call.
Shane, your voice is distorting. It's gargling all of a sudden.
Yeah.
The devil comes
Lord,
right in and tries to take his
what
voice
I was
away.
thinking.
Interesting.
Say it again. Yeah. Say it again.
All right.
Boy.
So if you're interested,
Take two.
If you're interested in getting to know Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, email me, blackswandiary2022@gmail.com, and I will do a one-on-one with you on Zoom. I will answer all of your questions. If you have any questions about who Jesus Christ is, why he had to die for us, why was it necessary, all this stuff, I will answer your questions one-on-one, just you and me. If you want to be a guest on this channel, just email me at blackswanpodrequests@gmail.com, and then you can be a guest also on this show. If you want to be a guest on any of these guys' shows, just reach out to them, talk to them, subscribe to their channel, like their video, comment on their video, because when you comment, their videos get boosted by Google and it'll show up to more people. So Gary has his own channel, Not So Random, and Bob Barber has his channel, End Time Dream and Vision, and Rick also has his channel, Departure Heaven, and he does Prophecy Mondays, which are tomorrow. Tomorrow.
8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
8:30 Eastern. So you want to check out that. Like, his channel is exploding. So thanks again. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being on this channel.
Thank you for having me on
Rev 4. I might have to call it Rev 4 now. But I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I thank you for taking your time here with me on a Sunday night. And also to the audience, love you guys as well for spending time. You could be doing anything else, really. And you decided to hang out with us, interact with us tonight. So I really appreciate that.
God comes first, man.
Awesome.
Amen.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys don't mind hanging out in the back,
sure.
I'll just end this with this.
God bless her.
Black Swan Revelations here on YouTube brought you today's mind-bending journey. Dive into the discussion, your comments, questions, prayer requests, and powerful testimonies of Jesus' love are what fuel this community. Did today's episode hit home? Smash that like button. New here? Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a live stream or a video upload. Thanks for being part of today's adventure. Catch you in the next video, or maybe even in the clouds. Stay curious, stay blessed.